Welcome back, everybody. So, my next movie review for you is Die Hard with a Vengeance. So, Die Hard with a Vengeance was released on the 15th of August 1995. Its director was John Tiernan, something along those lines anyway. It was made on a budget of 90 million US dollars and made a whopping 366.1 million US dollars. Once again, the cast consists of Bruce Willis returning as John McClane. We also got Samuel L. Jackson, Jeremy Irons, nearly said it wrong, I didn't, and Sam Phillips, plus many, many others. So in this third installment, John McClane must enlist the help of Zeus Carver to stop Simon, a former colonel from East Germany, to stop him basically detonating bombs across New York. So, where do I honestly begin with this movie review? Like I said, in the retrospective Die Hard with a Vengeance trailer reaction I did the other day, if I was to rate the first three Die Hard movies in the way I love them, it would go the first one, the second one, the third one. It's as simple as that. I do very much enjoy the third movie, but I don't enjoy it as much as, say, the first movie or the second movie. Not saying it's a bad movie in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying that that's the order that I like to put these movies in. Still an entertaining watch, and I still very much enjoy the content that you get to see in this movie. And like I said, basically, John McClane once again returns to stop another terrorist threat. Only in this occasion, he is basically asked for from the terrorist to play a game of Simon Says. I generally like this touch. It's not set in a office building, or skyrise, or in an airport. This is basically set throughout whole of New York. I like the change. I really, really do. It adds a little bit more suspenseful feel to it, and this movie does have a little bit more suspense to this. And it's pretty much a constant flow of action or something constantly going on. So I've never found myself bored at this movie in any way, shape, or form. There's always something going on pretty much from the start. It doesn't waste any time getting going, this movie. It pretty much lays out the storyline pretty early on, and as the story progresses, there are a few little twists and turns. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to spoil it for you. But generally, there is a few twists and turns in this movie, which I have to be honest with you, if you're a fan of the Die Hard movies, are quite predictable, and you can see them coming in certain respects, and you can a little bit. I could kind of see it coming, and I want to talk about something, but I don't want to talk about it as well because it might potentially give away. I'll leave it for another movie review, which I potentially want talk about what. No, I'm not going to say it just in case you haven't seen it. But for the people that have seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and the reason why I kind of predicted it is because I always believe, especially from movies, and I'm going to say it now anyway because I've already started, so I'm just going to go for it, is that from the movies from the 80s and 90s, if there's a trilogy, the third movie always kind of has ties to the first movie. And this movie kind of displays those kind of ties, if that makes sense. I might have just given it away. Never mind. No, I do mind, but I kind of given it away and I haven't given it away. But it is, to be honest with you, a little bit predictable. I generally like the performances in this, especially I'll go with once again Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is John McClane. You know what to kind of expect by now. He's got the same kind of attitude. You know what he's going to go through. You know he's going to get his ass kicked, and you know he's going to push himself to an absolute limit, and you know pretty much what you're expecting. I admit his performance is nowhere near on par with the first two. That being said, I still very much enjoy it. There is a lot of suspense, a very suspenseful feel out of this movie in certain areas, which I generally do like. But they do introduce some more characters in this movie. Samuel L. Jackson as Zeus Carver. I'm not 100% sure on his character. I think some parts of his character were just slightly overdone, but I also get what they were trying to do or what they were trying to portray in this movie as well. Do I think Samuel L. Jackson was a good casting choice for this movie? Yes and no, but it still worked for me, especially as the movie goes on. You see his character basically change throughout the movie, so it kind of makes up for itself in the long run. It's just at the start you find him to be quite this kind of jumped up, almost, I don't know how to put it, almost arrogant kind of attitude to him, and as the movie progresses that kind of changes over. He still carries that kind of cocky, sarcastic, arrogant kind of feel to him throughout this movie, but in certain points his demeanor does change throughout this movie. Now, going on to the main bad guy, played by Jeremy Irons. Now, Jeremy Irons to me is one of my favourite actors, plus he's British, and all British actors play the best villains. Simple as that. I'm throwing that out there. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I do apologise. But literally, most British male actors, if they're given a villain role, they can usually pull it off quite well. There is something about British people, and I'm British. I wouldn't say I'd make a good villain. No, actually, I probably could. I can be quite sadistical if I wanted to be. Yeah, I could. It's as simple as that. It's just that, I just generally like him as an actor as well. Just in general, I just love what they did here with his character. They kind of made him a bit complex. Not complex, but he's very good. I don't want to give too much away in case you haven't seen it, but he, in my opinion, for a villain, I generally like him. He has that kind of one side you think he's not a monster, and then the next minute he does something pretty, or potentially that could be. He's one of the. He just reminds me of a villain. He's got this very calm demeanor throughout the whole of this movie, but on the flip of the switch that he can turn just like that, and that's generally what I liked with his character. Action sequences in this movie, again, not as good as the first one. I know it seems like I'm comparing from the first one, but I generally got hold a lot of love for that first movie. That being said, the action sequences in here in this movie are actually quite good. Like I said, it's set through out New York, so there's this constant kind of rush. There's no same setting kind of theme in this movie, which is actually a welcome change, to be honest with you. It's got all sorts of different action in this. You get to see John McClane absolutely get destroyed, get beaten up. I actually it's like I said, it's not as good as the first one. It's not as good as the second one, but it's still an entertainment watch for me, and I do highly excuse me, I do highly recommend this movie. It's as simple as that. If I was to rate this, I would still give this between a 6.5, maybe 7 out of 10. Between 6 and 7, I would go for on this one, because it still provides the entertainment. You know exactly what you're going to get from this movie, pretty much. If you saw my retrospective trailer reaction, you know I wasn't a fan of that trailer, but then again, I've already seen the movie, and if you do watch that trailer reaction, okay, yes, I said that it wouldn't get me into the cinema, but trust me, from a person who watched this movie many, many times, it is worth a watch, so I highly recommend it. Like I said, I'm going to give it a 6 to 7 out of 10. Like I said, I hold a lot of love for the first one, hold quite a fair bit of love for the second one. This one is good, but it's not as good. And I can never really understand what. I think it's because it's the first movie to any movie franchise is always the best. And when sequels come along, you have to up the ante quite a lot to beat the first one. And there's a very few sequels out there that can actually beat the first movie. So I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm not putting any hate on it. It's just that I know that when you watch a movie franchise, the first movie, after that, it's very, very hard to beat. And it's as simple as that. So, like I said, 6, 7 out of 10. So, if you've seen this movie, please tell me what you think. Put it in the comments down below as normal. If you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend it. Watch the movie, come back, tell me what you think. Put it in the comments down below as normal. I hope you all have a great rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Please take care, and goodbye.